I had no plans to go to my high school reunion. Honestly, I just wanted to stay home and sleep. But my husband, David, kept encouraging me to go out. He said I was spending too much time indoors and needed to socialize more. He kept bringing up the reunion and eventually convinced me to attend. He even marked the date on our calendar and helped me choose an outfit. Soon enough, I was getting ready. I had been working from home for so long that I'd stopped going to social events. David's gentle push was what I needed, but I still felt unsure. Part of me didn't even want to go. As soon as I arrived at the venue, I felt like all eyes were on me. I tried to blend in, but people started coming up to me, starting conversations. It felt overwhelming. Some of the men were flirting, others looked at me like I was some kind of prize. It quickly became exhausting. I excused myself and went to the bar to have a drink alone. That's when I heard someone call my name. It was Liam, my first love. I hadn't seen him in years. Last I heard, he wasn't even in the country. Seeing him again was a shock, and suddenly I felt excited and alive. We hugged and caught up like old friends. He asked if I was with anyone and I said I wasn't. He smiled and offered to buy me a drink and I said yes. He brought me a whiskey and we kept talking. Then out of nowhere he asked me if I was happy. I didn't get what he meant at first, so he asked again, was I truly satisfied with my life? I told him I had a husband, a child, a good job and a home. But he just laughed and said that wasn't really the answer. We kept talking, remembering the past, and then he asked if I wanted to go somewhere quieter. The hall was loud and I agreed. He took me to the elevator and up to his hotel room. It was in the same building as the reunion. Inside he poured more whiskey and we kept talking. He apologized for how things ended between us years ago. I told him it didn't matter anymore. He had vanished after our final exams and didn't even come to prom. I laughed it off. Then he asked if my husband made me happier than he did. I should have shut it down, but I didn't. It felt like he was gently pressing on the weak spots in my marriage. The truth was, I had grown bored. Life had become routine and tiring. I tried to explain that Liam and I were just teenagers back then, and those feelings couldn't be compared to what I had now. But before I could finish, he kissed me. I froze. Then he pulled away and apologized. He said he couldn't help it, that I was still so beautiful. His words made me feel something I hadn't felt in a long time, and I kissed him back. We kissed for a while. The conversation between us turned playful. He told me he had never stopped thinking about me, that I still had a special place in his heart. Things moved quickly after that and we ended up spending the night together. It felt thrilling, like I had come alive again. But the next morning reality hit hard. What had I done? Panic rushed over me. I got dressed quietly, not wanting to wake him. I didn't want any awkward goodbyes. It was a one-time thing. It felt amazing, but that was it. I had turned off my phone the night before. In the taxi home, I asked the driver if he had a charger. Thankfully he did. As my phone powered on, I saw a message and then remembered. It was my child's birthday. I had completely forgotten about picking up the cake. I felt disoriented, like everything was crashing down. Then a message from David appeared on the screen. I hope he was worth it. The locks are changed. Don't even think about coming back. You don't have a home anymore. My heart sank. How did David find out? Confused and panicked, I told the taxi driver to go faster. I needed to get home right away. When we pulled up to the house, I jumped out and ran to the door. It wouldn't open. I knocked, but no one answered. I looked through the window and saw David sitting at the dining table, drinking coffee from his favorite mug, his phone lying right in front of him. I knocked on the window and called his name. The phone lit up. He could see I was calling, but he didn't even look at it. He acted like I didn't exist. Desperate, I knocked harder and even threatened to break the window. Still he ignored me. He stood up and quietly walked upstairs without saying a word. I stood on the porch crying, my heart breaking. One night of weakness had destroyed everything. Then I got a message. It was from Liam. He wrote, "Last night was amazing. We should talk." I was instantly angry and almost deleted it. But then I stopped. Wait, how did he even get my number? We never exchanged numbers. I stared at the screen, confused and frustrated. Just then the front door opened. David stepped out and threw my bags outside. He had packed all my clothes. I stood there stunned. I couldn't even think. I blurted out, "Stop acting like a child. Talk to me like an adult." David looked at me with pure anger. For a second I thought he was going to hit me, but he didn't. He turned around to go back inside, but I grabbed his shirt and begged him not to walk away. What's going on? Why the strange messages? Why are you throwing my things out? Is this some kind of joke? He laughed bitterly. You're a great actress, he said. I was worried you'd feel alone at the reunion, so I sent our son to my sister's house and came to the event to surprise you. My stomach dropped. I saw you with him, David said. I watched you leave the hall with Liam, get in the elevator and walk hand in hand through the corridor, laughing like you had all the time in the world. I followed you. I saw you go into a hotel room. And that was it. My heart broke. He paused, then said coldly, I wondered what I did to deserve this. Then I realized it's not about me. You're just ungrateful. He called me a liar. A cheat. Said I was an evil woman who betrayed the person who gave her everything. The insults cut deep. I tried to defend myself, even lied and said nothing had happened in the hotel room, that he was assuming too much. But he didn't believe me. You're still lying, he said. And I'm done arguing. Get off my porch. Before I could say another word, he slammed the door and locked it behind him. I stood there shocked, feeling lost. I had nowhere to go. My only choices were a friend's place, my sister-in-law's, or my brother's. I couldn't face my sister-in-law, so I headed to my brother's place about 20 minutes away. He opened the door right away and instead of asking what happened, he just laughed. That was typical of him, always joking. But I wasn't in the mood. I walked past him, sat on the couch and said I needed food. He told me to grab something from the kitchen myself. I sat on the couch for what felt like hours trying to think. How could I fix this? How could I convince David that nothing happened, even if it wasn't true? Then another message from Liam came in. Why are you ignoring me? I didn't answer. Another message followed. My name. Like he was shouting. I finally replied to Liam, telling him to leave me alone. The response came quickly. This time it was a video. It was us the night before in bed. Liam had recorded us without my knowledge. I froze. My stomach turned. Rage and panic exploded inside me. I immediately called him. He answered with a laugh. Oh, so you do still know how to call, he said smugly. I was starting to think you forgot how to text. I was furious. Are you insane? How could you do this to me? I needed your attention, he said. And if I don't get to see you again, I'll just send that video to your husband. In fact, maybe I'll send it to your whole high school group chat. I felt sick. I had destroyed my marriage for someone who turned out to be a blackmailer. I asked him how he could be so heartless. His answer was simple, because I want you. I had never felt so betrayed. I told him I'd do whatever he wanted just to stop him from sending the video. Then I hung up. It was still my son's birthday. Despite everything, I needed to be there for him. I picked up his birthday cake and went to my sister-in-law's house where he was staying. My son was overjoyed to see me and the cake. His smile was the only light in the darkness. But then David showed up. The moment he saw me, the happiness drained from his face. He pulled me outside furious. Though he kept his voice down for our son's sake, he was seething. What are you doing here? He snapped. You're not welcome anymore. Stay away from my son. I lost it. I yelled at him, called him insecure. I accused him of letting his fragile ego destroy our family. He didn't say anything at first. Then quietly but firmly he asked. Swear on our child's life you didn't sleep with Liam. And I did. I swore. I lied. He stared at me, his eyes narrowing. For a moment I saw doubt creeping into his face. He wanted to believe me. But then his phone chimed. He glanced at it. His expression changed. What? I asked, irritated. We're having a serious conversation and you're focused on your phone? He didn't answer. Instead he stepped in front of me and showed me the screen. It was the video. Me and Liam. In bed. Sleeping. I felt like the ground had disappeared beneath me. I could barely stand. You swore on our child's life, David whispered. And you lied. He turned and walked inside, slamming the door. I stood there frozen. The shame, the betrayal, the regret. It was all crashing down. I had nowhere to run. No one left to believe me. Still shaking, I rushed to the hotel where Liam was staying and banged on his door. When he opened it, he was smiling. I demanded to know why he sent the video. He said he thought I blocked him, so he figured he'd just go ahead and do it. My hands trembled with rage. I screamed at him, told him he'd ruined everything. He shrugged and said casually, "Oops." I told him I'd make sure he paid for this. But he just laughed. Your marriage was already dead. Come with me. We can start over. He wasn't the boy I once knew. That boy was long gone. All I saw now was a predator in love with the destruction he caused. I told him he was delusional and I left. When I returned to my brother's house, I was shocked to see my parents waiting. It felt like an ambush. My father's face was red with anger. What did I ever do to deserve this shame? He barked. I turned to my brother, assuming he had told them. But he hadn't. Liam had posted the video in our old high school group chat. Someone forwarded it to my sister. She told our parents. My mother said nothing. She just looked at me, eyes empty. My sister glared at me with disgust. When I called her a snake, she didn't even flinch. I tried to explain, to beg. I told them it was one mistake. That I had been a good wife, a good daughter. That they were judging me too harshly. My father just shook his head. You're not even sorry. He left the room. My mother didn't say a word. My family had turned their backs on me. I left. I had nowhere else to go. Eventually, I found a friend willing to let me crash on her couch. I kept my phone off. I didn't want to see any more messages, calls, or notifications. But word spread fast. Soon it felt like the whole town knew. I was terrified to go to work, afraid of the stares, the whispers. When I finally walked in, I saw my husband. He didn't speak. He just tossed an envelope at me. Inside were divorce papers. My knees nearly gave out. I walked into my office in a daze, only to be called into my boss's office. He didn't waste time. Told me to pack my things. I was fired. My boss was David's cousin. He didn't even pretend it wasn't personal. In one morning I lost my husband, my job, my dignity. 7 months have passed. The divorce was finalized. David was granted full custody of our son. The court said my actions made me unfit. He claimed the video posed a danger if it ever resurfaced, and they agreed. I'm only allowed supervised visits. My family won't speak to me. My friends avoid me. I became a pariah. I walk alone in my own life. I saw David once holding hands with another woman. Our son walking between them, smiling. Crushed me. It was like I never existed. Like the life we built never meant anything. Now I work as a cashier in a supermarket. Took months to get that job. The owner gave me a chance. No one else would. David and his girlfriend come in sometimes. They act happy like a picture-perfect family. He makes sure I see them. Each time it cuts deeper. A few days ago I finally took off my wedding ring. I kept hoping there was something left to hold on to. There isn't. I haven't heard from Liam since the fallout. I thought about pressing charges for recording me without my consent, but I can't afford a lawyer. I'm angry. Angry that I lost everything. Angry that one night destroyed my entire life. And sometimes I wonder, if David hadn't pushed me to go to that reunion, would any of this have ever happened?